Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iyori Folani. We're going to be revisiting a subject matter that we've treated quite copiously across all the programs on the station. And I'm talking about the Osun local government election. As you know, that election has been controversial. It's not supposed to have happened, but the Governor Adeleke, made it happen. But then the same governor that made it happen, if you saw the papers, I think it was yesterday, wasn't it, has said that, well, you know what, all you victors in the Osun election, Osun local government council elections, you know, don't show up yet. Don't show up, for work yet. So that's where we are on that. So that has prompted us to, well, call on more experts, even those that have spoken on this before, such as, for instance, Barrister Kabir, who is with us here. A fine morning to you in the first place.
On the program.
Indeed.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Always our pleasure to have you. Well, as I was saying, Barrister Kingolu, how is it going? What are you lawyers saying about this? Can the local council elections in Osun State, can it actually stand the legal test?
Well, if you look at it legally speaking, from whatever kind of angle you look at it, jurisprudentially, I don't think, and I believe it cannot stand because of the fact that there are laws and lots of issues. But let us take it from one angle, simplicity.
Okay.
That's what we call the doctrine of least pendent light. When a matter is pending in court, and you take any precipitate action that will force the fait accompli on whatever judgment the court is, eventually the court will not allow it. At that particular point in time, the court is not interested whether you have a good case or you have a bad case. What the court is interested in is you robbed the face of our, cutlass. You disrespected us. Just like, for a good example is somebody has brought a caterpillar and said, this morning, tomorrow I'll pull down this to your house, and you quickly rush to court to seek an injunction, and you serve him. He has been served. He knew that this matter is pending in court. He hasn't known whether the court is going to find in his favor or whether they are going to find in your favor. But he just believed that word to hell with court, and he goes ahead to pull down your house. Eventually, at that point, that's what the court will reverse it and say, no, we don't want to know whether this man even have a title to this land. The fact remains that they have brought the matter to your attention that is pending before us, but you have gone ahead to do whatever you want to do just to render whatever judgment we are going to give at the end of the day useless. So for that reason, they will set aside that step taken. So in Osun, it's looking like that. There is a judgment of the Court of Appeal that has, said, oh, the tenure of these local government people have not expired. Now that judgment stands. Although there is another argument from the other side that, well, there is a judgment of the Federal High Court in Osun too that nullified the election of the would-be or the current local government chairman that has gone back, chairman that has gone back to the council, that said the election was invalid. Although the ground upon which that suit was filed is questionable. One. But before we can answer all these things, we have to go a bit back to history. In 2022, the governors in Nigeria want to remain in power. When they're in power, they will not conduct any election. They'll be using caretaker committee, apart from Lagos State. And now in Ekiti State too, they are doing local government election. And they give the local government some level of freedom to operate. Now, they will not conduct election. They will be managing the local government with caretaker committee for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. If they now lose the election, they will now rapidly conduct a kind of kangaroo election or selection and put their boys there so that all their tracks will be covered. That in 2022 July, the governor, what's the name of this Osun governor?
Governor Adeleke.
No, the one that is the Minister of Blue Marine Economy now.
Okay. The former governor.
The former governor of Osun. I remember.
Oyetola.
Oyetola. Now, he lost the election to PDP in July 2022. Immediately lost the election and started preparing for local government election, which he had not done for good 4 years. He did it hurriedly. By October, they conducted an election. When he's going in November, he was going in November. He conducted the election and sworn in new local government chairman to be in charge of the local government. Now PDP has won. PDP came to power and found strange bedfellows and said, oh, you cannot stay. We are sending you away. Now, they sent them packing.
Yes.
When they sent them packing, the present governor, Adeleke, also appointed caretaker committee to man the local government. Now, the Supreme Court judgment came. At that time, in October 2022, PDP, seeing what happened, they said they are not going to participate in the election. They withdrew. Now, when that one happened, PDP went to court to challenge, APP went to court to challenge that election at the Federal High Court. That is the problem I have. It's a local government election. It has to be state high court. You cannot. But what some lawyers craftily do is to join the police. So the police is a federal government agency to confer the jurisdiction on Federal High Court willy-nilly, which is a limited jurisdiction. So they went to court. APP, the Federal High Court now nullified the election conducted by Governor Oyetola. So they went on appeal. The appeal was pending. Then when the Supreme Court judgment came, the caretaker committee that had been appointed by the governor of Osun State, he dissolved all of them and slated Saturday for a new election of the local government. But before the election, the appeal of the PA against this by the APC was delivered in Akure, and they reinstated them.
Yes.
Having reinstated them, the governor said, no, we already have a program, the election will go on. So this was it. And while that one was going also, APM now filed APP filed another this thing challenging the challenge, when they nullified the election of APC, they appealed. They didn't pursue the appeal. The appeal was dismissed. APM, another party, you know the way this thing was, they challenged that appeal, but they did not pursue it. The court dismissed the appeal. So the argument of the PDP is that the only judgment that is pending now is the one validating the election. That's what they are working upon. So this is the problem. However, with all these things, two wrongs does not make a right.
Indeed.
When the Court of Appeal has delivered the election, and from my own knowledge of jurisprudence, Court of Appeal is higher in authority and status than the Federal High Court. Okay. Yes, there's a judgment of the Federal High Court, assuming without consider it is a valid judgment because it's a judgment, of course, we cannot challenge that. But the Court of Appeal is higher in hierarchy. So, and the judgment of the Court of Appeal is the one that is stronger. So, and he said there is no vacancy. Can you now conduct an election upon an election?
And that
is the question.
And I am having a difficulty in accepting that Governor Adeleke does not have access to numerous expert lawyers.
Yeah. You see,
so he will have, you're a constitutional lawyer, and what you just said would not be strange to any, you don't even need to be a constitutional lawyer to say that, to indicate what you have just indicated. Yes. So the governor of Osun State has all these facilities, but still went ahead, and then has now said that, you know what, all you victors in that election, hold your peace. Just stay at home for now. Don't go in there. It's another, can it be described as a ruse to, sort of navigate areas that would not have been navigable? Well,
the issue is this, the police are support, because enforcing the judgment of a court, you need the support of police. And police has joined the local government chairmen that have entitled been removed to reinstate them back.
Yes.
And the governor, on that angle, I think I have to also commend him also, that he saw it that, this could look at, this could lead to an impasse.
Be very untidy.
Yes, we are going to swear you in, but hold on. Don't resume duty because these people are there. It might be, what I'm thinking is that, well, their tenure might soon end. Once their tenure ends, you can now come in. But another question came, because at the time the election was conducted on Saturday, APC too, based on the judgment of the Court of Appeal, said we are withdrawing from the election. They didn't participate. So it was like a one-party thing, and the election was conducted. Now, but he said, having told them not to resume, I think he's a lover of peace. he believed that, oh, it could lead to breakdown of law. And again, we have to continue to ask ourselves, all politicians, not the governor of Osun alone, no, almost all the governors in Nigeria, except a few states, you understand? Why do you believe that you don't, the life of anybody is not worth your ambition? They killed about either 5 or 6 people, and a lot of people sustained different degrees of injuries in Osun State. It is not supposed to be so. It is not supposed to be sad.
And so we are all, as we say locally, we are all looking, seeing, waiting for who will make sense of this issue. That it depends on how you look at it. Maybe because of what you've explained to us. This is why the courts exist, so that they can unravel these things and pronounce. But the one that has been pronounced before, those in authority have their ways and means of breaching
exactly. And do you
those decisions.
Again, I will go back to a bit of history.
Okay.
People will castigate the judiciary. Oh, this is that. The judges are this. The judiciary is not working till today. And I stand to be corrected, and I'm saying it, and I'll be saying it, that out of the 3 arms of government, judiciary is still the most effective and the best of them all. They are overworked. They continue to work. They are effective changes. Now, don't forget, Governor Oyetola is a product of the judiciary as well. Let me say it that way. Don't forget, some time ago, his election was upturned by an election tribunal. He went to Court of Appeal. I think he still lost. And then he went to Supreme Court and won. They said, no, go back to this thing. At that time, the judiciary would be the beacon of a hopeless man. It will be the last hope of a common man, rather. But now, when it is the other way around now, the judiciary is no longer good. You understand? When the court of law or a court of law in our land has spoken, we just have to obey it, whether you like it or not. You understand? This is how democracy can thrive. In the whole world, it doesn't matter. You don't need to agree with the judgment. The judgment need not be correct in your view. So far, the courts have spoken. If you want to say we're in a democracy, then we must obey rule of law. We must obey the law and as it is. Don't be carried away by political office. Don't be carried away by your political parties' influence and other things. Just know that this is the law and we have to obey it. In America, during the case of O.J. Simpson and the people, it was a judgment that people never loved. It never tore America apart. The president had to address it and say, come, whether you like it or not, the Supreme Court of the land has spoken and we must obey it. Do you understand? Everybody believed, oh, O.J. Simpson was guilty, but the verdict returned was a verdict of not guilty. So what do you do? And that was the end of it when the president spoke. Now here, if you don't like a judgment, you start to condemn the judges, you condemn the judiciary, you call judiciary names. It is not permitted anywhere. We are not in a banana republic.
So, where does all of this, as you said, it's a homily that we're familiar with. It would be a situation where we would really be on the move if, as you say, we have the kind of respect you've just described America as having, if we had it here too. So it doesn't matter whose ox is gored. It's a formula. If the court has pronounced, as a subscriber to democratic values and principles, you must go by it. You can work on appealing it if there is still room, and if there is no more room, you bakamo, as our people say.
Yes, there is still even room.
Okay.
The governor is a lover of democracy. From his body language, I can see.
That is, you are talking about the governor.
The governor of Osun State.
Governor Adeleke.
Yeah, you know the way he said, don't resume. That shows that he still know that the judgment is taking effect. What I'm saying is still, they will appeal to the Supreme Court. They still have one step. We have the High Court, the Court of Appeal, the Supreme Court. So you still have one more step. You should have just, exercised that right and ensure that, oh, this is what happened, and let them go. But by just it's like taking the law into one's hands to now say, oh, go and do this election. I think you should have waited. Remember, one of the early problems that we have in June 12 was because there was another Federal High Court in Abuja, on Friday, saying the election should not go on. It's one of the flimsy excuses that the military dictator at that time was using later on, though it's a flimsy one. Why don't we just exercise our rights under the Constitution and appeal the judgment and see what the Supreme Court is saying? They could win eventually. Who knows? You understand? We cannot preempt the court. But conducting an election where the tenure of others have not lapsed, It's not good. In 2006 to 2007, Governor Ladoja of Oyo State was removed illegally by the House of Assembly. He went to court and challenged it. They went on and on. By the time he will win the election, the judgment was like 3 or 4 months to the end of the tenure, or the end, Then he came back to the Supreme Court and said, oh, my time that I didn't spend, I want to spend. They say, no, you can only be entitled to your salary for the main time. Yes, you were illegally removed, but then you have no other remedy than your salary. Now, the chairman of the local government now, those are some of the constitutional implications that have been removed since. All those times have been counting, because it's like a convocation. Immediately you have been sworn in, your tenure has started reading. So if they have 8 months to the end of the tenure they ought to have in the first place, they can't spend more than that 8 months. So they will collect this, but they will collect salary for and all their emoluments for those periods that they were not in office. Now, again, when you look at it, it's a drain to the purse of the state, because some people illegally man those positions as caretaker committees, as the councillors, and some other things, collecting perks of office, collecting cars and some other things. So the government is losing on both ends, because you have to pay them back now.
Okay. Let me take this call from Mr. Oseni in Jos. Good morning, Mr. Oseni.
Good morning, Uncle Eri.
Thank you for calling, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yes, please. You see, the problem we have in this country, Uncle Yori, is that our politics is so much, I even lack a word to describe it. We are playing politics with our future, and the future of the generation get undone. This thing we are doing today, look at Nigeria. Anywhere you go, advanced country, even in the US, you know about the counties. All these local governments are where development are supposed to take place, in the grassroots. Today, if you look at Nigeria, look at the major cities, look at Lagos, look at the major cities. There are no people in the grassroots, because all the money, the things that they are supposed to get for development have been packed, and a governor in the state will pack everything and live with it in the state. While the grassroots are getting nothing. So people will have to migrate from that place, from the rural area to the urban area, thereby causing congestion. Zero development in the local government. And there is a law today, thank God for the administration in place, to secure the financial autonomy for the local government. But I'm telling you today, the governors are not exempting any, because I have not seen any that is clean from this accusation. None of them has ever agreed to let the local government take charge of control of the resources given to them. You see, all this issue of elections is coming because of what? Because of the governors trying to hijack every process, bring them the chairmen on their side so that they can now collect what they have been collecting. I'm telling you before, I'm aware of where I come from. 17 local governments. Once, if that money is given to them, they know how much they are going to give to the governor. Not one of the commissioners for local government and chieftaincy as well.
Well,
know anything,
well,
end up not doing anything.
That is the impression a lot of people have, but it is yet to be proved.
Sir?
I said that is an impression a lot of people have, that the governors are actually dipping their fingers, but it is yet to be proved. But you said you won't remove any. You said you won't remove any governor.
I'm not calling a name, but then I'm giving an instance of what I know.
I hear you, sir. I hear you, sir. I hear you. Please continue. I hear you.
I'm giving an instance of what has been happening. Clearly, our politics is not a progressive politics here. Because all these people have their lieutenants, when they do all these things, because you are getting a penny from them today, tomorrow they will be on television, they will be on newspaper, forgetting that tomorrow they will not be there. Next tomorrow is another person. They will be defending all these kind of things. And that is why, instead of rejecting this thing, your children are there. If it is not affecting you, it's affecting your neighbor. Next time it can be your own turn. Somebody will come there and do the same thing to you. So what are we talking about? How can we progress with this kind of a thing?
Okay, Mr. Oseni, thank you very much for calling in. Mr. Oseni brings up the crucial point, because this is not for an exercise in constitutional law. It's just that we had to bring you in as a constitutional lawyer to explain it to us. But at the end of the day, it's about development, because he pointed out that that's where it really starts from the local government council areas.
Yes.
And all of this is now being frustrated. You heard Mr. Oseni.
Yes, you know, Mr. Oseni has not said anything out of place because even by the judgment of the Supreme Court, it is very clear that the governors are not taking the money. It's not an allegation. It is a proven fact. The Supreme Court said, if we interpret section 62, section 162 or 5 or thereabout, that when you look at it very well, yes, truly, the money is supposed to be routed through the governors to the local government. But if somebody is charged with the responsibility under the law and they are not performing this, should there be no way? Is that a dead end? Okay. If the governors who have saddled with the responsibility of collecting local government money, if under the Constitution, if you read sections 162 together with sections 7 and 8 of the Constitution, there is what they call contributory, when they call this JAC, Joint Account Committee. The joint account is supposed to be between the state and the local government. The federal government is supposed to drop a certain amount of money there. The state government is supposed to contribute there as well and give it to local government. But rather than doing the contribution, they take it. In fact, there are some governors who allegedly, promise, I will say now, mortgage that money to pay the loans taken on behalf of the state. You understand? Now, what are we trying to do? The Supreme Court now said, if somebody has been charged with this and you have been giving it to him several years, they have not been delivering it to the beneficiary, the court will have to look for another means through which they can get the money. That was why the Supreme Court directed that the federal government should pay the money directly to the local government. The Supreme Court of every country is a policy court. Do you understand? I get they can change the law anyhow, whether you like it or not. The Constitution can be like this if they know that interpreting it this way is going to cause hardship. If this is going to be relaxed and make people to be, they will interpret it that way, and nobody can question that. It has happened. It happens everywhere. Even in America, in constitutional rights, what we call Bill of Attainder, and in America they can make law to guide only one person. They call it Bill of Attainder. You understand? I think under Babangida, they make a particular decree also because of Osun, so that he will not become chairman of NLC then, because he knew that this is a radical. Making him to be will not be possible. I think he passed a decree and said somebody who has held certain positions in the NLC shall not be qualified to contest until he left office. Osun was not able to be.
Mr. George, you've been holding on for a while. Thank you very much. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yari.
Thank you.
Good morning to the guest.
Yes.
Good morning.
What the Osun State governor is trying to do is to play smart so as to hold on to the money that is meant for those reinstated chairmen and use it to fund the ones he elected. When those ones that have been reinstated are not seeing funds, they will get tired and move away from there. But it should not be allowed to happen. If local governments are independent financially, it is for the benefit of we the people. As long as they are in the pockets of governors, we will not see the effectiveness of local governance in Nigeria. All the governors, virtually all of them, have this tendency to manipulate local government chairmen. They don't want another party to have a local government in their states. That's the simple truth of it. But there are some governors who have tried it and heavens did not fall. Governor Al-Makura of Nasarawa State did it. He got majority of the votes and he ran 2 terms successfully. El-Rufai did it in Kaduna. He ran his 2 terms successfully. So it's just greed that these governors are exhibiting. I want to thank the president for taking that matter to the Supreme Court that granted financial autonomy to local governments. I want the president to take a step further. Let the Constitution be amended to make INEC be the one that conducts local government elections.
Okay.
If that is done, gradually the governors will lose grip of local government, and it is only then that the people can benefit from local government administration.
Thank you very much, Mr. George, for calling in. I could see you were nodding because that's... Would that be like a final step?
Yes, one of the only way, in fact. The only way, the hard way.
Because at the moment, in case anybody doesn't know, it is the State Electoral Commission that handles those.
Yes, you know, like constitutionally, The State Independent Electoral Commission was established, I think, it's established by Section 196 or 197 of the Constitution, and their powers under Section 202, the power of the INEC, the power of Judicial Service Commission, and the power of, I think, Civil Service Commission shall be exercised without recourse to any authority. That's what the Constitution says in Section 202. However, the powers are exercised by taking orders from the governor. The governors will establish a State Independent Electoral Commission. Once it's there, he works according to the dictates of the governor. Similarly, the Police Service Commission, controls the police and the workings of the police. Now, there is no state police yet. People are clamoring for state police, but I have never been one of them, and I will never be one. I will never support it. You know why?
Why?
The same thing that is happening to State Independent Electoral Commission will happen if state police are to be.
Okay.
The governors will use it that there won't be any opposition in the state at all. If the state governor is the one to appoint the commissioner of police, if he's the one to appoint all the policemen that will be working in the state, out there you be under the election, during the election you walk around, they will ensure that nothing happens. So state police, we have to be very careful. And however, like the question here has said, the only way there could be development is for the local government to be independent. All these trunk zeros, they are under the powers of the local government to construct. You understand? The stifling development, when they are not autonomous, fiscal autonomy is not there, they are very, very, they are handicapped. So the governors know this. It's just like the golden egg, the end that laid the golden egg. They cripple them, they don't allow them to function. So, but I think last year it was mooted by the federal government. There is going to be a commission. The local government electoral service commission that will be conducting local government elections. That's the only way. Because in every local government, labor state, all the House of Assembly, all the local government councillors and chairmen will be returned for labor. APC will be returned for KPC, PDP, the same thing. So why?
Okay. Reverend Dominic, thank you for holding on for a while. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Chief Yori. Good morning to your guest.
Barrister Kimpulu. Yeah,
good morning. Yori, let me start contributing to this, your question. What a legal test? Where are we going to test this legal battle? Is it in Nigerian court? Yori, I want to ask your lawyer there. Every state has an anatomy of a state or commission of justice. Because I ask myself every day, do they advise their boss? Do they advise their governors? Because what happened in Osun, I look at it from here.
Yes.
People have a mandate of, 2 years or 3 years. What is the hurry? What should there is for them to finish their own term? What is the hurry? Now, the court goes up and down. What is legal test? Why would you test this? I've said it before. I've argued many years. The problem of Nigeria is not constitution. The problem of Nigeria is human challenge, our character. Because obeying the court is like obeying the constitution. If we don't obey the court, how do you obey the constitution that is helpless in the paper? So the problem here is not constitution. I'm glad you are just talking about state police. I've said it, I told somebody, I wish I could have finished this word and go heaven. When we establish state police in Nigeria. Because what happened in Osun the other day? Take example what happened in Osun. Let's say that Osun has a state police that's under command of governor. And the APC is federal. Trying to take over their mandate, what will happen? Now the commission has the power of correction of the state police. What will happen? Listen to me. Let me say it again. Judge is saying to return INEC to federal. We are trying that the power is so much in center. Now we're taking again INEC, responsibility to bring back again to the state. And we're trying that the power is so much in center. Where are we going? As long as we don't have gentlemen in government, even constitution, we write it 100 times over. Nobody will obey it. Our politicians must learn to obey the court. That's obey the constitution. That's the way democracy will thrive. There's nothing the man in Osun will lose if he fulfills their term and serve out. That's what we will lose. Now you are conducting election. I ask them to stay in the house. At whose cost? Until Nigerians begin to ask questions, whose cost? Osun money. You need to conduct the election and determine to sit at home. That's what you can break somebody's heart.
Okay. Reverend Dominic, thank you very much for calling in and also bringing up the point that we also touched upon, because I was asking Barrister Kingo to say, they have expert lawyers, and he said the Attorney General in that place, he must be highly knowledgeable in the law.
Yeah, and good enough, the Attorney General, Mr. Wole Jimmy Bada, is a fantastic advocate that I have so much respect for. He has a pedigree, he's a lawyer's lawyer, and I am sure that he will have given the correct advice. But sometimes the politicians do their things in their own way, not the Attorney General. You know, there is a political way of doing their thing. There are political ways of doing their things. There are legal ways of doing their things. I've seen an Attorney General that lost his seat because he will just go to court, do his case, and go and say, I have performed my legal duty. They were saying, in one of the statements, they said, we only have legal age, we don't have political age. And they started mounting campaign of calumny against him until he lost that seat because they believe he still had to do some other unethical things that he will not do. So the Attorney General cannot be blamed there because the Chief Executive Officer still will the if you are too stubborn, they will just announce on the radio that you have tendered your resignation letter. Okay. That is the thing. You understand? So only few people can do all these things. I have seen under a military, I think under Abacha, where an Attorney General, resigned. I have also seen, in another regime that an Attorney General is, was opposed to some policies of the military government, and the next thing they started assassinating some of his family members. So you see, all these things happen. Politicians will not listen to such advice. They want you to give them that wrong advice. That is the only way they believe, oh, you are with them. So, but then, what is legal is legal. What is illegal is illegal. What has happened in Osun is a kind of, it's an illegal thing. And I think the earlier we correct it, the better for us. So
what we're going to do is just leave it right there. I want to thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
From all the workings, now we've arrived at the answer to our question, which is, I'm afraid there's no how you look at it and call this.
From whatever angle.
Whatever angle.
Call Rose by whatever name it will still smell sweet. So call illegality by whatever name you still get illegality.
Thank you very much, Barrister Kabir Akingbolu. Appreciate your time this morning. Okay.